The story you're about to listen to isn't for the faint of heart. It is one that has been passed down for generations as a tragedy. There's many classical tropes of anger, bargaining, and pride. No party could tell unscathed. It's all just a shade of gray. This is the lawn chair story. So, once upon a time in the summer of 2021, me and my boys decided to go to Gavin's house. Now, if you somehow didn't know, waiting for Gavin to get his shoes on was like waiting for Prohibition to happen again. Knowing I was going to be out there for a while, I gazed around the lawn for somewhere to get comfy in. Then, I spotted it. A beautiful lawn chair, just shining in the distance, 4 inches away from me. So, I took my shoes off and sat in it to soak in the sun. What I should have known, though, is this lawn chair didn't appear out of nowhere. It was Gavin's dear old uncle's lawn chair, who was back in town from his truck driving job, which is why he was so chunky, you could say. Maybe that's why what happens with this very nice lawn chair happens next. So, while I'm sitting in this chair, it suddenly decides it's made out of twigs, and the left side just full on breaks. No, I'm not exactly obese. In fact, I have the body of an African child. So when I get back up, me and my friends look at each other in just silence and shock, just hoping Gavin will come out at any minute, because we all knew someone there might see it. But what happened next will shock you. So stay tuned.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
While we stood there, a fat, shirtless Gavin's uncle spawns out of nowhere. He just walks out of his truck the second it happens, like he has a sixth sense about the lawn chair. And also, what you should know about his uncle is that he's not exactly the next Einstein. The inner machinations of his mind weren't exactly an enigma. He's already screaming and freaking out while standing shirtless in his sister's lawn, so I rightfully apologize. But this dude will not take it. This is when the whole family comes out. Not being crazy like this guy, but they eventually become that way. That's when he tells me to leave before he calls the cops. So I do just that, then go about my day. But, oh wait.
Several days later.
They call my mother and tell her a completely fake story about how the uncle told me to get out of the lawn chair, but I'm screaming insults at him, and I smash the chair. But making up stories isn't something new for this guy. He comes up with the weirdest stories. For example, once I was just waiting outside the house, and since he lives in a truck, he comes out and accuses me of smoking, since he saw smoke coming out of my mouth, even though it was December at the time, so the air was cold, which he couldn't take that as an answer. So he walks in and casually says I'm smoking. He can only tell a story if it's going his way, pretty much. There's many examples of this, but this is just one story out of many. So obviously,
I'm pissed off.
because after everything this dude has done, I was sick of it. I was complete beast mode at this point. There was nothing else I'd like to do besides
see him suffer.
So logically, I made a parody Instagram account of his uncle, because this guy had one where he'd post the weirdest things, like a lot about his nephew. It was kind of creepy. Anyways, he also posted his own ugly face too. So I took those photos and made a couple posts, and they're pretty funny though, I'll give them that. A few days later, the nephew I just mentioned found this account and basically went off at me. You know, a few basic insults in a few paragraphs that could fill a novel, all that. And basically, my response was, which probably didn't help my case for why I did this, because he probably didn't know how he lied about this. So it probably came off as absurd. And then I shut down the Instagram account after they threatened to call the police, and that brings a close to this sad and dreary saga. I just hope that these two protagonists learn to not be controlled by their anger and make their way through situations with a calm and understanding demeanor. Anyways, Gavin's uncle's full name is, and his social security number is,